What's going on, guys? Josh the Game Attack here again for another commentary. This one's going to be a midweek one, which is surprising since I usually only upload on Sundays due to my revision schedule recently. Anyway, this is my first attempt at this commentary, I'm not going to lie, and this is also my first attempt at doing, I suppose, a reveal review. I guess that's what they call it. So here we are. I've got some information on the Black Ops 2. This is from a very reliable source. I'll be posting the link in the description so you can read up. Anyway, I'm not going to let the I'm not going to babble about this. An 85 and 18 demolition gameplay. Modern Warfare 3. I played pretty kill whorish. Me and my friend Alex carried the team. That's enough about the gameplay. Let's get on to the facts. The game is set a little more than a decade in the future, which also gives, I suppose, Treyarch a lot of edge for what they want to do, because what they've been really settled with Treyarch recently, well, in their previous games, has been very olden, I guess olden times would be the best one. So they had the Modern Warfare 2, they had the World War 2 series, they had Black Ops 1, which was set in the 50s, 60s, so they're pretty past times, and now they've gone for a futuristic game, as this is set in 2025. This has actually all been confirmed that they've spent a lot of time researching into what the actual thing is. Into actual, I suppose, models and stuff might be the best way to put it, to make a lot of the things they've included in the game more plausible and actually more for the near future. There are a few branching storylines, and the gameplay is non-linear. Is also been confirmed. So I guess there'll be a lot of side objectives which can take you around the missions, I suppose, and you'll just be like doing one thing and then doing another thing before going back to the main objective, which in all fairness, that's something a COD's never done, which means this COD could either go really well or really badly. Hopefully it goes well, because I'm really looking forward to the new Black Ops, in all fairness. The game's storyline basically jumps between two timelines, with the primary one being set in 2025, most of the game being set in 2025, and I think there's a few parts in 1980, I believe. So jumping back and forth to the 80s, and this game actually is a direct sequel to Black Ops, the original. We know this purely because of how it follows on from what actually happened in the end of the last one. There's a few hints of what actually happened after the game finished. We definitely, like I say, we'll definitely find out what happened at the end of Black Ops, presumably, because presumably Mason didn't actually kill JFK, given that he's still out in the field in Black Ops 2, but like I said, it's not been fully confirmed by Treyarch, so we actually don't know how the storyline fully finished, but we get some more insiders and more hints into this. The second timeline, which is the second storyline, is also set late 80s, near the end of the Cold War. A lot of the war in the 80s, so the 80s storyline is set in Central America, with a lot of the wars going on there. I suppose it sort of makes a mockery sort of scenes. The first one was set in Vietnam, and they're following into a similar environment from the first one. The story will be narrated by the Black Ops character Frank Woods, who, if you remember Woods, he was one of the best characters in the whole game. You always love Woods. He was just an absolute tank. He didn't really play much a part, as they actually confirmed that he was in the last one, but apparently he's now narrating this one, so I guess that means that he's actually going to play a bit of a bigger part than he did in the last one, and he's actually going to get his spotlight. And it also proves that he didn't die at the end of Black Ops after all, which is always good. In the 80s timeline, us guys, the players, will take on the roles of the main character at the original Black Ops, Alex Mason, who had those numbers in his head. I suppose that's Treyarch's way of allowing us to follow on from the direct storyline, and I guess that's how they're doing it. In 2025, this is actually fairly interesting, I thought. The players will take on the role of David Mason, who quite clearly is the son of Alex Mason. The father-son relationship will play a part in the story. Hello, daddening of video games. I guess I'm not sure what the source means by hello, daddening of video games, but I suppose there's going to be something which involves Alex further into the storyline as you progress in the 2025 future one. I'd like to see what they're going to do with that, because I reckon that could either be a really good point or a really bad point. It could either boost the storyline, make it more intense, or it could just kill the storyline altogether. The game's fiction. There is a second Cold War, which is, I guess, another way of following it on from the original Black Ops theme, between China and the US due to some rare earth elements used to make tech devices and military weapons. If I would have shown you the reveal trailer at the beginning of this, but to be quite honest, I think you've seen enough videos of it, enough videos breaking it down. So I'm not going to break. Well, I did think of doing a breaking down, but I thought I'd leave that anyway. But if you've seen as you've seen in the reveal trailer, there was a lot of futuristic technology there, hovercrafts. I think they were called Charlie, weren't they? Yeah. And those walking tanks, which those walking tanks remind me an awful lot about the Scarabs out of Halo. So I don't know if Treyarch have sort of borrowed that sort of idea. Well, we'll see. But yeah, it's based on a second Cold War happening between the China and the US due to the minerals. And quick fact for you here: the story is based on a real world possibility, as China, currently one of the biggest powers in the world, controls 95% of the rare earth elements in this world. That could be fairly trivial, but due to the sheer size of China and the power they've got, I actually think that could be quite possible. Many of the real-world hooks are inspired by P.W. Singer's Wired for War, the Robotics Revolution and Conflict in the 21st Century. P.W. Singer, he was a writer who writes some brilliant fiction. If you haven't read any of his books, I would advise reading some of his books. He's got a way of wording things which just, I suppose, just take things to the next level. It's like you watch things like the Avatar and things like that. That's the sort of writing that he does. Sometimes he even outshines. I think it's James Cameron. Was it James Cameron that? I can't think what the guy's name is that wrote Avatar. It'll come to me at some point in this commentary, and you'll just be wondering why I'm shouting random names out. Anyway, let's continue with the facts. Excuse me about that. A good deal of 1980s action will take place during proxy wars in Central America. I did say that originally. Also, the game director, Dave Anthony, hinted that we may find out more about the imaginary Victor Reznov, who's apparently a figure of the imagination of Alex Mason. That's what the whole original Black Ops storyline was about. It would be nice for them to expand on what Victor Reznov, the part that Victor Reznov played in the original one, in this one, because it could tie up a lot of loose ends. It'll also, I don't know, also prove if he actually existed, or whether he, as they tried to say in the first one, or whether he was just literally a figment of Alex's imagination. Okay, David Mason, here Alex's son's call sign is Section. I don't know what they go about Section. It just doesn't sound like an original call. It does sound fairly futuristic, so I can see why they've chose Section as a call sign, and I suppose that could either lead good or bad. Okay, where was I? The story was written from the ground up by Dark Knight and Batman Begins co-writer David Goyer, and I think with this they also borrowed a lot of features from films and other oh god, I can't think what it's called now. Other games. Like the body mapping of Avatar was borrowed, I'm pretty sure, and the facial recognition on LA Noire was used in this game. So I think we could be seeing some of the most beautiful graphics that I think any Call of Duty could ever produce. Which I suppose that's just wow. It's out of this world, because you wouldn't expect Call of Duty to go compete graphic wise, seeing as they've already got one of the largest target audiences in the world. Well, I think FIFA's got a slightly bigger one, purely because that's pretty much the sole game for that genre. But they've got one of the best audiences in the world, and they can still have time to they just have time for the extra graphics, which amazes me. If the graphics are as good as what they're supposed to be, then I'll actually generally look forward to this next Call of Duty. The main villain in this Call of Duty is going to be called Raul Menendez, who is 2025 is pitting the Chinese and the US governments against each other by hacking to their drones and other robotic weapons. We saw this in the trailer with the Los Angeles scene, where what they called the super weapons, or the military weapons of that day, turn against them in LA and just wreaking havoc. Yeah, that did make sense. There is confirmed that there will be at least one female character, but from what I can see, there should be 2. The pilot, the first female character is a pilot named Anderson. She laid quite a bit of waste during the entire LA mission, which means she's pretty badass. And also, the president in 2025 is a woman and also appears in the Attack on LA mission. So I guess we're going to see a couple of female characters, which I suppose which would be pretty cool. And as I was talking about the avatar and things that they borrowed, the fully body performance was taken from Avatar, and also the facial recognition from LA Noire. It says here that each person will have a different ending depending on how you choose to play the game, so I suppose we're all going to get a varied experience from the game. I suppose nobody's game is going to actually go out one way. And snipers have awesome optic, you can see through materials with a scope, electronic charge to penetrate, etc, etc, so a couple new features that they intend to implement. A new feature which they're intending to implement as well is called Strike Force, which at the moment is only part of the campaign. They've only confirmed it as. Treyarch is aiming to change that with Black Ops 2 with the inclusion of Strike Force, a new open-ended game mode that folded into the single-player campaign. It basically allows for the game story to allows you to. I suppose it allows you to take the game story to a wider perspective. As I've said before, it's about the Cold War going on about China and the United States, and they intend. Wait, have I read this wrong? Yeah, we're given. Okay, top up story of Alex and David Mason, Frank Woods. Black Ops 2 story will feature several points through which the player is given a number of different operations wouldn't say. Worked with guys named Peter Singer on how to make futuristic sounds. I guess that's just some notes. Strike Force allows players to control squads or group, giving follow or hold commands with the shoulder buttons, which is quite cool. And it will allow you to control at the very least armed aerial drones, armed land drones, and unarmed aerial drones. That seems like a pretty cool game mode. I think I might have to do a separate video on that. Seems I've got a bit of time left over. I've just read something pretty cool. Players won't be able to play all the Strike Force missions in a single playthrough, and depending on the outcome of a Strike Force mission, the story will change. You're going to choose a mission, said Lamia, and that's a branch for the story. So I think it makes it more sandbox-like. So it's not going to be completely sandbox-like. Excuse me, I got a really sore throat. It's not going to be completely sandbox-like games like GTA, but it's going to be pretty open-ended, which I suppose that's something which Call of Duty have definitely been looking into, and I suppose that's always the way forward. I think for like multiplayer, I want to leave that for another video. I'm going to quickly just go over a couple of the basics. Things like the esports community, which is the Major League Gaming community. I think they're fixing any problems that there is with that. How they had LAN problems with Modern Warfare 3, which sort of bummed a lot of the MLG players out. Also, this is something pretty key. There is going to be no Black Ops 2 beta for multiplayer, which I suppose that could either, well, yeah, I suppose it puts everyone on a level playing field when the game actually comes out, which makes the game a lot more fairer. And one last thing, the thing you've always wanted to hear, Zombies is definitely returning, and it's going to be bigger and more ambitious than ever. Zombies can be now played with up to 8 players as well, which is always good. And my last point, I'm going to say Elite 2.0 will be fully integrated into Black Ops 2, so we're still going to get all the Elite services, so clans and everything could be back in Black Ops 2. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this extreme long commentary. I was going to use this gameplay for a Would You Rather episode this weekend, but I think I wanted to fill you guys in with this information. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to give me a like, a favourite if you actually liked and want to favourite the video. I want to keep growing. You've done brilliant work for me over the past couple of weeks. Got me a lot of views, and I'm eternally grateful. I love you guys. Thanks for everything. Peace.